is Michael McCarthy. I'm the Joint Artistic Director of Music Theatre Wales, and I'm the stage director of this extraordinary opera, The Killing Flower, or Luci miei traditrici, by Salvatore Sciarrino. Sciarrino is a unique musician. He writes music like nobody else. It's a very, very special world that he creates in the concert hall and as an opera composer. What we're going to do here at the Wales Millennium Centre and several other venues around Wales and England is invite you, the audience, to come into an auditorium that you know well for opera, and then discover that actually you're going on a journey as well. You will come into the main auditorium. You will then be invited onto the stage itself, and you will see this strange box-like thing sitting on the stage, and you will be led inside the construction to sit down in this unusual, perhaps slightly church-like auditorium. The atmosphere of the space will also, I think, immediately be felt. There's this extraordinary paintwork which spreads from the centre of the floor out to the sides and onto the seating. One of the most magical things that we experience when we're lucky enough to work in opera is the rehearsal room. You'll see some of the best opera you will ever experience in a rehearsal room because you're so close to the performers, because you see them breathe and prepare to sing and inhabit the character. This is what we want you to do here. And it's also related to the nature of the piece. In some ways I could describe this as an opera that's whispered, every gesture really telling and significant. So when you as an audience person will be sitting alongside here, listening in, overhearing, watching, feeling part of, sometimes sharing moments with the performers as they draw you into their own world. What we have here is the ensemble of musicians who also play like a whisper. The way that the opera works is it's based on a very true story of an extraordinary composer, Gesualdo. He is very well known for two things. One is writing the most extraordinarily complex musical motets, the beautiful, rich, chromatic music. But he's also known for really brutal and malicious murder of his wife and her lover. An act of absolute jealousy and rage, a passionate crime if ever there was one. And what's extraordinary is that this tormented man writing this highly chromatic, often very painful, heartfelt music. So the two sort of go side by side. What Sciarrino does allows us to come closer to the real people at the heart of this story. This isn't a conventional plot. This isn't an opera that explores whodunit. Why is he murdering this woman? It's very different. It's a story that lets us get inside the minds and inside the psychology and inside the emotions of the characters involved. So it's not about the murder, it's about the passions that run up to this point. It's about the love that the Duke and the Duchess genuinely have at the beginning of the opera, and then the instantaneous, overwhelming impact on the Duchess and on the guest when they see each other and instantly fall in love for the first time. A very raw, very beautiful and very profound scene where they both really struggle to come to terms with the fact that this is what they are looking at. And they're true to their emotions, and yet they want to be true to the lives that they have. And they both know that this is about betrayal, but they have to follow their hearts. And indeed the servant, this brilliant extra character that Sciarrino has brought in. Here's the servant who's watching things, he's useful to the people around, he's useful to the Duke, but primarily the servant also has a problem because he secretly loves the Duchess as well. And this is tormenting for the servant. So the servant goes away and tells the Duke. So at the end of the prelude, what I'm going to do in this dark space here is drop the curtain. There'll be a white silk curtain, beautiful big white silk curtain, which will just drop into the space and take us somewhere else. And what we go to is a garden scene between the Duke and the Duchess. It's like their honeymoon. They're so freshly in love. They will have a rose in the centre of this beautiful silk, which the Duke wants to collect for the Duchess, but the Duchess insists on taking it herself. She reaches out for the rose, she pricks her finger, and at the sight of her blood, the Duke faints. It's not naturalism here. We're not talking about realism in any way, but we are talking about real emotions and real thoughts and real passions. You'll notice here we have a table, and this table takes on a very powerful significance. At the scene when the servant comes to the Duke and tells the Duke about the betrayal of his wife, I will get the Duke to swing this table into the space for the first time, and they will have a sort of interview around this table where the Duke will be told. It's a highly charged scene. We suddenly see him go from one extreme of emotion, this overwhelming love for his wife, to the other extreme of huge pain and distress. But then the screw starts to tighten. It starts to turn inexorably towards the end. The Duchess and the Duke encounter each other repeatedly. He knows. She probably knows that he knows. She is guilt-ridden. And they start to work on each other. Does she believe that there is redemption? Does she believe that there is forgiveness? We don't know. Does she love the Duke? Yes, passionately. Does she love the guest? Yes, passionately. To whom has she pledged fidelity? And the opera will start to make you think about those things and find your way inside this relationship as they circle around each other, trying to work out what to do. How much of a psychopath is this man? Is he a psychopath, or is he just passionately distressed? Has the best thing in his life suddenly been taken away from him? How does he handle that? So bit by bit, as we get closer to it, the Duke seems to sort of change colour. He gets colder as it goes on. The musical language gets a little bit more sparse. And in the final scene, it starts with them not even singing at a whisper, but speaking at a whisper. They can hardly utter the things that they want to say. For the final scene, the Duke will bring the table back. And on the table will be the bloody body of the guest. And this is where we see the cruelty of the Duke, as he slowly but surely forces the Duchess to look under the cloth, before he finally, silently, and in the stillest possible way, kills the Duchess. So each scene is like an image of a completely interior world in its own right. And it will be animated, and then just for a moment, it will stop.